Welcome back, everybody, to yet another podcast episode. You might be able to tell that we've got a bit of a sound upgrade.
Yeah. We've got a sound upgrade and a video upgrade. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the video quality should be better. And if you're listening on Spotify, where hopefully the sound is better quality as well.
Finally bit the bullet, upgraded some equipment. We've sort of been stuck in the house. I mean, another week, not much has changed.
Yeah.
And we just thought we've got all this time on our hands and we do have, enough spare money on the side that we would be able to do this. So why not?
Yeah.
This is the time to do it.
Definitely.
All right, so this week, I guess this episode is sort of inspired by Hannah's mom. I guess we can give her a shout out. She has suggested that we talk about this. She said it would be an interesting topic for us to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think, especially in a time like this, I think that's true. Today, we want to kind of talk about fitness.
Definitely.
And our fitness journey. Have you ever faced a difficult choice of buying avocado toast or real estate? If so, this podcast is for you. Join me and my best friend and co-host as we discuss everything from pop culture to the political climate that affects us all. This is Tag Yourself. I'm Daniel Zagorski.
And I'm Hannah Byrne. Yeah, we both of us had quite a big fitness transformation in the past year. It's something that we've both been working really hard on, and I thought it would be kind of an interesting thing to talk about this week.
In terms of like our fitness transition, Hannah has made incredible progress kind of from last year, beginning of 2019 to now. You've lost around, 12 kg now? 12, 14?
About 14 kg altogether.
Around that. So obviously that's incredible progress, and obviously you can see it not only just with your body composition and how you handle yourself, but then also with confidence in the gym and strength and stamina and all of these things that come with it.
Yeah.
In terms of my own transformation, I lost, I would say, about 10 kilograms.
Yeah.
And had quite a dramatic transformation in terms of what my body looks like.
Definitely, your muscle definition is incredible. Like from when you look before, even you might have been skinnier, but you were very small, and you put on weight as in you put on muscle. You lost fat and you gained a lot of muscle.
You and me come from kind of very different places when it comes to fitness.
That's it.
And I think that's actually a good point to start. So in terms of your relationship with, I think everyone sort of develops some kind of relationship with fitness as we grow up. You sort of have to. You either hate it, you either don't like sports, or you're into it. Like, what was your experience kind of, I guess, growing up and then teenagehood and all of that?
Yeah, well, I really used to be into sports when I was a lot younger. I used to play in the soccer team at school. My problem was I was very indecisive, so I'd like join all different kind of teams or do different sports like trampolining, gymnastics, and then I'd quit after like going only like a few times. I swam for a long time. Swimming was probably the longest sport I did. I did that for a really long time. Then when I became a teenager, it just dropped off the radar. Like that wasn't my group of friends were not really into sport. We would just like hang out and stuff. And then as I grew older and older, I tend to just get further and further away from wanting to do any exercise. And I definitely got overweight. My lifestyle, my eating habits were not great. And when I was in my like early 20s, I was like, oh, I need to kind of change something. So I joined the gym back when I lived in England, and I went a lot, but like I didn't really know what I was doing, so I didn't see much changes happening.
Yeah, I think a lot of people fall into that trap if they don't come from, I guess, a fitness background, or if they don't sit on the internet and do extensive research before jumping into it, because it can be a little bit complicated, or it can feel like it's very complicated.
That's it.
And I think it's because there's such a wealth of information out there that it's kind of pretty overwhelming, I guess, to try and tackle it yourself. Before you moved over to Ireland, you had that brief period when you sort of were like, I'm going to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I'm going to work out. I'm going to try and lose weight and make progress.
Yeah.
So what happened then?
That kind of worked for a bit. That was me really going to the gym like every other day. Like I just finished nursing school. I qualified and I was waiting for my nursing registration from Ireland to happen before I moved over to Ireland. So I decided like, oh, I have some free time. I'll try and get fit, get healthy. And I did quite well. Like I was exercising. I lost a little weight, but I didn't really know what to do in the gym. So I feel like I was wasting a lot of my time. I would do, cardio for a really long time, but nothing very high intensity. So it just wasn't really burning the calories that I needed to. And then the weights, just tiny, like really low weights with not a lot of reps, or I do really high rates and only do like 3 or 4 reps. So like it wasn't working out for me. And I came to Ireland, I was at my skinniest and my lowest weight. But then after maybe I've been here 7 years now, but my weight crept up and up and up. Like I went like 20 or so kg higher. Like I got ridiculously big in over the years. And because it was so slow, I didn't realize it was happening till I got to that point.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning when you moved over, I suppose it was like a new country, and both of us weren't in the best financial position. So in terms of like nutrition or like even gym memberships, that really wasn't on the cards back then.
No, we couldn't afford that.
Exactly. And then I suppose then over the years, you never placed much importance / priority on like fitness and gym. It just wasn't part of your routine. That's and it wasn't on your radar, I suppose.
Yeah.
So then I suppose when was then the turning point? Like the big one, I guess, the big turning point.
December 2018, that's when I was my heaviest. And I think like I stepped on the scales in January, as we always do, to be like, oh, what's the damage over Christmas? And like it was really heavy. Like I was even surprised myself.
Was that the heaviest you'd ever been?
Yeah, definitely. So that was like a huge turning point. Like I want to do something. I hadn't been happy with myself for a long time. I could see myself getting bigger, and I would always look at my old photos and be like, oh, I wish I looked like that, but I didn't have the
But I think it's also hard to
that.
tell, like, because you're someone who lives with yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Like you're with yourself 24/7.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like your body changing, when it happens so slowly, like it's so difficult to notice it.
That's it.
Because putting on weight, like you just don't notice that stuff day to day.
No.
And then even losing weight, you also don't notice that day to day. But then you look back on a photo and you're like, I did not realize I ever looked that big.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. Which is why I think it's really important to take before and after photos, because, well, throughout your whole journey, documenting it, if you go on any type of fitness transformation, weight loss
just
journey,
anything, even just to have a reference point for it. This is what I looked like in 2018, 2019.
Definitely. So I was like, oh, I really want to do something. I really want to make this change because I'm not happy with myself and not happy with my body, my weight, and like my level of fitness wasn't great. And I'm a type 1 diabetic, so it makes losing weight a lot more difficult, but it also benefits my health other than
weight. Other than just the usual health
healthy.
benefits from being fit.
It means I take less insulin, and that it's healthier for me as a diabetic to not have to take so many units.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And so then, of course, Hannah, like you mentioned, just fitness was just not something that was your priority.
Yeah.
And then, for whatever reason, you always just seemed a little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hesitant,
I guess. Yeah, I suppose, to like fully jump into it. And we floated the idea of like a personal trainer a few times here and there, but generally kind of got put on the back burner because, we'd always say, oh, there's no money for that.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, but then realistically, you can kind of make that excuse always. But
for anything, really.
Yeah, and the reality of it is, it just depends on what your priority is.
Yeah, and what you value. Are you going to put a cost on your health and your wellness?
And there's personal trainers at different price points. So you could make health your priority, and you could spend $25 on a relatively cheap but still somewhat effective personal trainer, and skip that takeout meal that you were going to get for the same money. So I suppose for us, both of us, actually, it was really handy, I guess, because both of us were at the same kind of mindset, whereas I was at my heaviest I've ever been as well that January. So we were both sort of like, initially I actually just Googled the personal trainer. I was looking for a personal trainer that had experience with diabetic clients. Yeah,
because that's another issue I found in the gym. Whenever I trained myself, I would exercise, and if anyone doesn't know anything about diabetes, the basics is you have to keep your blood sugar level. If it goes too low, you feel unwell and you can faint, and if it goes too high, you get headaches and nausea. That's the really basics of it. But there are different things to make your sugars high and low. Obviously, you eat food, your sugars will go up. And if you exercise, your sugar will go down, and taking insulin makes your sugar go down. So basically, every time I would exercise in the gym, I would be burning off energy, sugar, and calories. But then my blood sugar would drop dramatically. I'd get unwell, and you have to eat more sugar or more carbs to make that level come back up to a flat line.
Yeah, so it's in like a bit of a cycle.
That's it.
And you just feel... I can imagine, like, you just feel, defeated. It's like, what's the point? Why would I even work out if I'm just going to end up eating the calories back anyway?
Eating it,
Yeah, so you can imagine, like, it is extra hard for diabetics because, usually your body is quite happy to keep your insulin levels or your blood sugar levels within a certain range by itself. But when you're a diabetic, you sort of manually have to control that, and it has to fall within a certain range.
Yeah.
And also, like, yes, your blood sugar goes low. You pretty much more or less have to stop working out in the next few minutes because you could faint if you don't.
And it takes up to 45 minutes to recover. So what, are you going to sit in the change room with the gym?
And it does also have a mental effect, right? Like, it makes you feel lethargic and just doesn't make you feel like 100% there. No, I'm not saying that, you go crazy or anything, but like you feel like...
Your personality changes. You feel... It's kind of like being drunk and angry and aggressive. Like, people experience it all different ways, but I definitely get in a completely different mood if I'm having a hypo.
Yeah. And then another thing is, if you go high, that's also not great for working out, right? Because you probably don't feel so well.
Yeah. You get lethargic and tired.
Yeah. So there's, fitness is already complicated, and then there's that extra level of complexity. So that's why I Googled like personal trainers that would have experience with diabetics.
Yeah.
And initially, I was actually only looking for a personal trainer for Hannah, just because I was like, I can try and figure stuff out on my own.
Yeah.
I don't have any health stuff that complicates my journey, so I just, I said I could just find that stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
But we ended up finding a studio that had quite knowledgeable and experienced personal trainers, and we're still with them, which is like a year and so later. Of course, we haven't seen them in a few weeks now because of this craziness. But we initially just went in for like a consultation. I was there for moral support initially, I suppose.
Yeah, so we went and we found this studio. It's called Studio 41, and it's a private gym with private trainers, like one-on-one sessions. So it's just yourself and the trainer in the gym, and there's nobody else there usually when you have these sessions, which is something that that kind of made me feel really happy and kind of
less self-conscious
because I hate being in a gym full of like, I don't even like doing classes like spinning classes because I feel, everyone else is so much healthier than me or so much fitter, and I don't like other people looking at me when I work out, especially like when you're heavy, just you're embarrassed anyway. So I liked the fact that it was just one-on-one private sessions. So we went to meet them, and the trainers there were amazing, and we had a chat with Daniel's trainer originally, who's called Nathan, and he was excellent and he had a lot of knowledge, but he suggested that I get one of their trainers called Pat because he is super experienced and he has a lot of clients that have diabetes.
Yeah. And I think it's also like, a lot of the time, I think our personal trainers anyway, they tend to try and pick up on like personality wise as well.
Yeah.
And
traits.
The way our personal trainers were chosen, I think we're suited to our personalities.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And I obviously that genuinely helps,
Yeah. Well, yeah, both of us have a really great bond with our trainers. Like, we get on really, really well. And that's really nice, when you have that kind of connection with someone, because you feel like you trust them and that they're doing what's best for your body, and you don't have to worry about it yourself because, if you have any questions or queries, you can just ask your trainer and they'll sort it out for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, you do need to have some sort of a good relationship and confidence in your personal trainer because, like, realistically, if I like someone as a person and if I enjoy interacting with them, I'm going to want to not disappoint them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
work hard.
I could skip the gym today, or I could just go because I know I'm going to see Nathan on Friday and he's going to do a weigh-in and he's going to be disappointed that I skipped gym.
Yeah, that's it.
So then you started working out then with Pat in late January 2019.
Yeah.
And then, so he was looking after workouts once a week. But then he
twice
also...
a week originally.
Yeah, that's right. We actually started twice a week. That's right. And he also did the meal plan for you.
Yeah, he did a diet plan for me, which was really useful because I think a huge part of having a weight loss journey is your food that you put into your body. Like, they say you can't outrun a bad diet, which is 100% true. Like, no matter how much you work out in the gym, if you're eating bad quality food, things that's not nutritious for you, you're not going to lose any weight, you'll stay stable. So he wrote my diet plan out for me, and I still stick to it now. Like, it's pretty specific, but it works. And at first, like, I found it really hard because I would get so hungry, or I wasn't used to cutting out a lot or the majority of the carbs in my diet.
It's a huge adjustment. And also,
definitely,
not to mention, it's not a meal plan that you would have ever arrived at yourself.
No.
You would have never sat down and devised it and said, that's going to work for me. Just because, like, your personal trainer has so much experience with people who have diabetes. And, the advice that he gives, sometimes may contradict what you actually hear in your diabetes clinic.
That's it. Like, it was completely different. I mean, I got into arguments with my dietitian at the diabetic clinic who was telling me, you can't possibly be a diabetic and not eat carbs. Eating a no carb diet, that's not healthy for you. And I said, yes it is. Like, look at my results and look at my blood sugars. My HbA1c, which is your level of how good your diabetic control is, dropped dramatically to a much healthier range even after a few months of working out. So it was clearly benefiting.
Yeah, and on top of that, it just really annoys me to hear that, you know, those individuals who are in the diabetic clinic don't know better.
Yeah.
Because there is actual genuine physical proof for why, you know, your personal trainer's plan worked.
Yeah.
And it totally is so much healthier for you.
Definitely.
Because if you're following the sort of plan that the clinic advises, they're like, oh, you gotta eat carbs, you gotta eat all these things, which carbs, of course, so calorie heavy, and then will of course spike your blood sugar.
Yeah.
Whereas when you've been on his diet, not only, like you've said, you've seen that improvement in the HbA1c.
Yeah.
Your eyes, you had issues with your eyes before.
That's it, yeah.
And your doctor literally said you've reversed the damage that was made to your eyes.
That's it. Like, the benefits for my health has been insane. And that was even just after a few months. And like Daniel said, we've been with our trainers for a year and a bit now. And the results just keep on happening, you know, like, they don't stop. They do slow down and you plateau, obviously, when you lose a lot of weight, but like, you still see them. And it's not just the physical result. It's like I said, my health benefited a lot more, and your mental health as well. Like, you feel completely different about yourself when you feel happier, and, you know, when you've gone on a weight loss journey.
Well, I suppose on the topic of that, we've sort of mentioned what your progress was physically. You mentioned mental health there. How would you feel that, you know, this whole journey, I suppose, up until now has affected you mentally, whether that's positively, negatively, if you've had any super negative moments, anything like that?
I think, I don't know, it was definitely really, really tough at the beginning, like, because the gym is all completely mirrored, and like, I couldn't even like look at myself in the mirror. Like, I hate it, and my trainer would always be saying, you know, watch your form, look at yourself, and I would just want to look at the floor, like, look away, not even look at myself working out. Like, I really hated it.
Probably doesn't also help your posture.
No, definitely, and my phone, because I wasn't seeing really what I was doing. So that was tough. But then when I started to lose the weight and it was coming off really quickly, I was like, oh my God, like, I feel really proud and I feel happy about myself. I work well with kind of like a reward system, and I always used to reward myself with food, or like, oh, so I had a good day, I'm going to celebrate with something nice, or I had a bad day, I'm going to eat something crappy and just, you know, that will be a treat. So I went to kind of buying things, little things, not expensive things, like small things, like a bath bomb from Lush or something, and I'd be like, when I get to this goal,
that was instead of food.
So you that was my reward.
Yeah,
and that definitely helped, because I'd want to, you know, use these products, or, you know, get to these things, and then it would help me to get to my goal quicker. So that kind of helped mentally as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I saw the results and when I started to take photos, like after 3 months, after 6 months, after 9 months, like, I was really amazed. And then kind of that gave me the confidence to like post those photos on my Instagram, and then to see people liking that and commenting and saying like, oh wow, like, you look so different, congratulations on your weight loss journey. It just makes you feel happy, and you do feel a lot happier. There's obviously been like really tough days, times you just want to say like, I can't do this anymore, this is too hard, like, I just want to go back to eating junk food. Or like, sometimes I think you're really hard on yourself. I know I am. Like, if I'm not reaching my goals quick enough, or if I lose, you know, half a kg when I really wanted to lose a whole kg in the time period. And that's just, I think, a personal thing of, you know, being not a perfectionist, but being driven by numbers and wanting to reach my goal quicker than I am.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the entirety of fitness, I guess, fitness dialogue, wherever you see it, it tends to be sort of focused around numbers. And especially when it comes to people who are not too knowledgeable on fitness, that are sort of, you know, just like amateurs, casual gym goers, you know, they'll tend to focus just on the number and the scale, you know, without really taking into consideration the fact that you might be heavier today, but it might be either purely because you've put on some muscle and you're actually leaner.
That's it.
Or it could be because you're just retaining a lot of water that day.
That's it.
You know,
but people,
but people don't tend to realize that, or they don't think of that. So they'll ask you, oh, what's your weight? How much weight have you lost? And you'll tell them a number. They'll be like, oh, I thought you'd lost more. And it's like, just like stupid things that just people don't realize. Like,
body composition is such a huge thing. As I had a whole amount of time where I was the same weight for months on end, and I was so annoyed. Why am I not losing the weight? And then every time my trainer would be like, look at your numbers on the breakdown. Your body fat percentage is going down and your muscle percentage is going up. The kgs of fat are going down. The muscle kg is going up. Like, your body is changing, but your weight will still seem to be the same, but your composition and the way you look is different. So that's what he told me. And also, like what Daniel always said, is it's how you look in the mirror, how you look at yourself and you see your body, and you can see, I've gotten on a smaller belt loop on my, on my
or
jeans.
like a smaller size shirt fits
that's
you now.
it. And that's how I found I would be able to tell when I was losing the weight. Like my clothes, I skipped 4 sizes maybe. Like I got so much smaller in my t-shirts, and even now I find it so hard to buy clothes because I'm not used to mentally getting an extra small or a small when I would never. Like I always go for mediums, large, or whatever sizes. So I think like it is difficult not to pay attention to the number on the scales, because everybody always does. But if you can get a scale that has more of a breakdown, it gives you a better idea of what's happening on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I think, if you still want to look at the numbers, that's fine. I mean, it is human nature. You want to see the numbers. You want to see if you're progressing. But I would always suggest not putting them front and center.
Yeah.
Don't forget to think about, what's my body looking like? And by all means, take photos. Because like I said, you live with yourself day to day, so you might not notice the changes. Yeah, so you have to make sure you also think about, what do I look like, And also another thing to pay attention to is just how you're feeling. Because, oftentimes when you actually get fitter, you'll feel more energetic.
Oh, yeah.
You'll feel better in yourself.
Yeah, a lot less
you'll feel clearer. More, exactly.
Yeah, kind of like ready to go to the gym. And like, once you get it into a habit, and like you said, like it's like you have to do it. You don't feel kind of like, oh, well, maybe I won't go today. You think like, oh, I have to go today. It's something I do every day, or I always do this on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, So I think like my journey, like, because my goals and Daniel's goals were completely different. So mine was more of a weight loss journey, and I know that his was more of like it was a weight loss, but also muscle gain, right?
Well, I didn't know what my goal was, and that was the core issue of everything.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a bit more about how you worked with your trainer to kind of realize what your goals were?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been into fitness, into sports. I like doing that stuff. I had some mental health issues when I was in my teenage years. So that kind of fell off a little bit just because I didn't have as much social interaction. I didn't do as many sports, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I never been like properly overweight.
Yeah. No,
like
you've
I
always
said,
been lean.
The heaviest I've been was that Christmas. And I've always been going to the gym on and off, but it was never regular enough for it to, show any like dramatic, impressive results or anything like that. And it was frustrating. And I also didn't know, should I bulk? Should I cut?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people struggle with that as well.
Yeah.
But I had no clue. So when I did end up going to the personal trainer with Hannah, I ended up thinking, actually, maybe I should also see a personal trainer, even if it's just for a while. At least maybe they can point me in the right direction, help me figure out where to go from where I am right now. And that's what happened. So initially I started with Royce, who is another personal trainer in there. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
No,
I thought you always started with Nathan.
No, I had a few sessions with Royce, and then I switched over to Nathan. And for the first little while, he just gave me a meal plan, and I just kind of did my thing, just so we could see how my body reacts, or what my maintenance calories are, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then because we had a holiday coming up in April, we sort of said we're gonna kind of cut, but while trying to also build / maintain muscle.
Yeah.
And because you could still kind of classify me as a bit of an amateur in the gym, that's still possible for me. It's not like I'm already super muscly trying to build muscle while I'm cutting.
Yeah.
So we just did that for ages. And, for me, it was a massive shift as well, even though I had been going to the gym before, because it was just a completely different gear. And in terms of food, it was completely different.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Both of us had a complete overhaul of food. Because before that, we tried to eat healthy, but looking back on it now.
Yeah, it wasn't.
like we'd Google healthy meals, and we'd go
I
through.
mean, the meals might have been healthy enough, but the portion control was just out of the window.
Like spring panzanella salad, one of our favorite meals, genuinely just has like an entire loaf of bread in it.
In one salad.
And that does like what, 4 servings maybe?
No, it definitely should be more than that. But like,
okay, well, even 6
the
servings.
Size of, but remember the sizes we used to.
No, I know, but
fill our plate with it.
Still, that's just so.
No salad should have bread in it.
Yeah, I suppose. No, but so that was basically where we're at, and then suddenly this whole shift, and now I'm eating loads of like so much chicken,
and so much protein,
and protein shakes, and tuna, and nuts, and like just completely different, and like our meal plans are boring. I'll give you that, they are boring.
Yeah,
it's the same thing day in and out
every single day.
But the beautiful thing about that is that it takes so little planning.
Yeah,
and that has been honestly one of my favorite things, because it's always the same, which means your grocery list is always the same.
Yeah, you can literally add all to basket on Tesco's online shopping.
Exactly, you can batch cook it, and it's always the same, so there's never any surprise. There's never like, oh, I don't have this particular ingredient for my meal. It just doesn't happen. And I would never go back to the way I used to eat.
No.
And I think that's something that this is where people go wrong, I think, is when they think of these things as like a diet. It's like, I'm going to go on this diet, and after a few weeks, I'll be fine, I've lost weight, and I'll go back to my eating habits. But realistically, as soon as you go back to your old eating habits, any progress that you've done is just...
It goes out the window.
It's just gone. You'd be back to zero.
Yeah.
But you need to look at nutrition as not a diet. You just need to look at
a lifestyle
nutrition.
Change.
It's your lifestyle. It's how you eat every single day.
Yeah.
And like, is it annoying sometimes? Yeah, sure. But the thing is, we eat healthy 99% of the time. Like, all the time we eat healthy, and then maybe we'll have one cheat meal for a dinner once a week.
Yeah.
And that doesn't erase all the work we've done, but it does give us that window of opportunity to have something that we're not usually allowed to have.
Yeah.
Like, you could have maybe tacos or something with a bit of extra carbs, maybe a packet of crisps, sushi, pizza, those kind of things. So, but for us, that's sustainable.
Yeah.
Because we know that the food that we eat gives us enough energy.
Yeah.
And is good for us, and that we're still not 1000% constrained to it.
Yeah.
We get to have nice food if we want it.
Yeah.
And when we go on holiday, we give ourselves a bit more slack.
That's it.
Because that we know as soon as we get back, we're going to jump back to it.
That's it.
So I think it's looking at how you can make that sustainable, and that has worked for us. In terms of fitness, so that was a big change for me as well, because I went from kind of going to the gym once, twice a week.
Yeah.
Maybe three times if I happen to be very ambitious that week.
Yeah.
To, in April, I think I was doing gym 6 times a week.
Yeah.
Plus, I think 5 or 6 cardio sessions on top of that.
Yeah.
And that was including cardio within my gym sessions as well.
That's
so
a lot.
It was, and some days I did double cardio sessions. Like, I'd have cardio in the morning where I'd,
run to work,
go to work, and then I'd have cardio in the evening. But for me, that was my goals, and that was what I was willing to put in to achieve them.
That's it. Because like, some people might listen or hear this kind of and think, wow, that's really intense what you did. Like, your diet and your exercise are very strict and they're very restrictive. But then I say, like, but look at the results and look at the payoff. It's like, I would rather have like a stricter diet and like strict exercise regime and get those results than sit on my ass and eat whatever I want, but then be unhappy with myself because I haven't gotten anywhere. Nothing's changed.
Yeah. And
sometimes that's what you need, is a complete overhaul of your lifestyle. Like, if someone told me a few years ago, like, oh, you'd be eating like this and exercising this many times, I'd be like, no, that's just not me. And some people feel like, oh, I'm not a gym person. Like, I was like that. I would never be like, oh, I'm not an exercise person. But you get into it because when you see the results, you get happy from that. And the endorphins from exercise, and like, I never believed that. And I still don't know how much I believe it, because I don't ever feel that happy working out or in the gym. But I do feel, even if it's not endorphins, you do feel a sense of pride when you've finished and you completed your workout, and you're like, great, I did that, that's done now.
Maybe that's the endorphins.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but you feel good after working out, because you think, damn, like, I worked my ass off in the gym today, and like, that was worth it.
Yeah, and I mean, what I did, was an extreme.
Yeah.
And I did that because I was under pressure of time and because I wanted to reach a certain goal before going on my holidays. By no means that's not the right track for everyone.
Yeah.
People have very different goals, and for you, progress might look like moving from doing 0 days at the gym to doing 2 days at gym a week.
Yeah.
And that's still progress, and that's still very good.
That's it.
The thing with it is that there's really no need to compare yourself to anyone else and
That's
try
exactly what I was gonna say.
and measure how well or badly you're doing based on
someone else's
progress and someone else's plan.
Yeah.
Because everyone is different.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if you want to get shredded like Zac Efron in Baywatch,
you're gonna have to put a lot of effort.
it's gonna be a lot of effort, and realistically, so much cardio.
Yeah.
So few carbs, like no carbs at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But I think where a lot of people go wrong when it comes to fitness is prioritizing.
Yeah.
I think what happens is, of course, everyone wants to be healthy. Of course, people want to be healthy, be able to have stamina, be able to go on hikes, be able to, live longer lives and just be healthy in general. Like,
definitely.
who doesn't want that? Who doesn't have that as a goal? But the thing is, it tends to be really easy to dismiss that in favor of something else.
Yeah.
And that was me, absolutely 1000%.
Yeah.
During this quarantine, this is me kind of a little bit, because it's very easy to get distracted by other things.
That's it.
And this was me before, because it used to be like, I could go to the gym right now.
Yeah.
But I could also just go home and I could go watch something on Netflix.
Yeah.
Or my friends are asking me to go out. I could just skip the gym today and go see them.
Yeah.
Because I was prioritizing those things at that time. Whereas, I made the shift of trying to think of the gym as something that wasn't optional.
Yeah.
I knew it was a priority to me. So I was trying to figure out how I can make that work for me in my life, in my daily life, and how I can, I guess, essentially at the beginning force myself to do it every single day.
Yeah.
And what helped me was thinking, okay, well, let's think of work, right? My work, my office. I wouldn't just skip going to work. No. I can't do that.
No, it's mandatory.
Exactly, it's mandatory. It's not an option.
Yeah.
So I viewed the gym the same.
Yeah.
It's not an option. I
I
can't just say I'm not going.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, I'd finish work, and it was just as obvious as anything that now I have to change into my running shoes and I run to the gym and I do my workout session.
Yeah.
And then I'm back home and it's done.
That's it. And I think along those lines as well, a lot of people find, like you were saying, they don't prioritize it. They also don't have the motivation. And having motivation and willpower is a huge thing when it comes to a fitness journey. I think you can either use that to, when you have a goal, you can either use that to inspire you, or you use how you used to look to be like, I don't want to be like that anymore. If you don't have a goal, in the end, it's just getting as far away from your start point as possible.
Yeah. And I think shifting your view on the gym can also help with motivation.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when I viewed the gym as sort of optional, it's so easy to dismiss it. It's it's just this thing that I might do today.
Yeah.
I not necessarily will, but I could do it.
Yeah.
But when it's something that's not an option anymore, motivation doesn't even really come into it, right? Because I'm sitting at work and it's like 3:50 and I'm about to leave in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the last thing I want to do right now is run for 30 minutes just to get to my gym and then do a workout. But that doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because realistically, when I'm in bed at 7:50, about to wake up and go to work, I don't think, oh, it's so much work, maybe I should not go. It doesn't matter. I just get up and go.
Yeah, you do it.
Of course,
anyway.
you don't want to do it. You just do it.
Yeah.
So it's the same way. So that's how that worked for me and my mindset, because for me, it's not an option. So motivation doesn't even matter.
That's it.
I don't know what sort of mindsets, or have you been doing anything like that to, I guess, stay motivated?
Well, I think one of my main driving forces was actually my personal trainer, because like Daniel said, when you have someone who's holding you accountable at the end of the week, and I would try and put my sessions near the end of the week, because if I go on Monday and then I'd be like, I just mess about the rest of the week and not really pull my weight. If I have my sessions around a Saturday for a while, I think I need to drop this weight. I want to reach my goal. I want to get to this place, this number, or, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I knew if I didn't go to the gym, there'd be no possible way to achieve that. And if I sat on my ass for the next 3 days in a row and didn't work out, then took myself to my trainer and stood on the scales there, I would just feel bad. I'd feel embarrassed, and I just wouldn't even have a way to explain myself. You'd be like, oh, what's the reason for this? Oh, I was too lazy to go. And I'm not about to do that when I'm paying money for my trainer.
And I think that's another thing as well. Like
monetary loss.
for some people, having a personal trainer means that they hold themselves more accountable because otherwise, like, you're just wasting money essentially.
Because in the past, I didn't care about wasting money on my gym membership, but the personal trainers are more expensive, and I've also actual people. It's not just like the gym.
Yeah, it's like one person holding you accountable. You know, it's like not like the gym manager is gonna come out and be like, "Oh, I haven't seen you." Yeah. I mean, our gym does send us text messages, but you know, they're not personally gonna come and like
push you to go.
Yeah,
they don't care if you pay. They don't care if you come or not. You're paying monthly for it regardless. Whereas a trainer is different. They hold you accountable, and that helps you to hold yourself accountable. So I found that really helped me as my motivation was thinking, oh, I'm seeing my trainer, and also like Danny said, like, you want to impress them, you want to show them that you're doing well, that you've taken on what they've said, and that you're making progress towards your goal as well, because then you can both celebrate that. It's a win for both of you, like they've done their job well and you're reaching the goals that you want to hit.
Throughout the journey that you've had so far, what has been like the most surprising thing to you? Like, whether that was something that changed about you and you were like, you know, I didn't even realize that this would happen, or like, you know, just something that came up, or like a setback that like surprised you. Like, what's something that caught you by surprise?
I think how quickly I was able to lose weight in the beginning, like actually how fast those kgs came off, and quite a lot of weight in a short period of time. Like, I didn't think that was possible. I've always been like, or you see those things on the internet, people like, I lost this much weight in this many days, and you're like, that's not physically possible. But actually it is. If you really knuckle down and you work really hard.
With a caveat that we're only talking about losing weight in a healthy way here.
Yeah, and you go to the gym and you eat a healthy diet, like, you can lose weight really quickly. And then when I would see that weight coming off, I was like, oh wow, like, because in the past I'd worked out, I'd worked really hard at it sometimes, I'd never seen a change. So to actually see the change in the scales and the weight, like, that was a big difference to me. Again, seeing like my body look physically different. Like, again, you see yourself in the mirror every morning and you think you can't really see that. But then as time goes by, you're like, oh wow, like when I turn sideways, I can see like I'm a lot slimmer. I used to have a big belly, and like I can definitely see that my body shape has changed. I think this is kind of a stupid thing, but like I never thought that like I would get like a big butt, you know, like that was never, it wasn't really one of my goals, but because I do a lot of squats and a lot of lunges all the time, constantly doing leg day, those muscles in your butt get bigger and you get like a rounded butt. Like, I had a flat butt, I had no ass before, and like
there's hope for everyone.
Like, yeah, like I was just kind of like, oh, that's it. Like, I was born with no butt, I'm not gonna have a butt. I didn't even realize you could actually work out your butt and get it bigger.
You've got butt muscles.
I do. I have butt muscles now. So like that was just like a weird thing. Like, that wasn't a goal. Like, I know a lot of girls do those workouts on purpose to get like big butts, course, but that just came along with the workouts I was doing, which was kind of funny. How about you? Is there things that you were surprised about, or that happened quickly, or not the way you planned them?
I guess maybe the results that I got last year when I was at the end of like my cutting season.
Yeah.
Maybe like, no, looking back on it now, right? Because at the time you don't really appreciate it. Yeah. You know, at the time I was just like, oh, I still wanna, you know, just wanna get leaner, wanna get more muscle. But like looking back on it now, you know, now that I've been kind of bulking, and then I was starting to cut, and then we had to get into quarantine.
Yeah.
You know, looking back on it now, it's like, okay, wow, like I did have quite a dramatic transformation between January and April/June.
Yeah.
And that was really good. And I didn't realize that, you know, it was possible to get to that point that fast.
Yeah. You were so shredded, so ripped. Like, I was so surprised as well, the absolute like muscle definition on your abs.
But the thing with that was, it was satisfying because I did put in a shit ton of work.
You did. Yeah.
So like, if I didn't reach that point, you know, it would have been pretty disappointing to have been working my ass off and not get the sort of results I got. So that was quite nice. I would, of course, credit our personal trainers for a lot of that, because
definitely.
they did pretty
Put in
much
so
guide
much
us throughout
effort,
that all. And you were saying about, previously having worked out and not seen much change. I think that's where personal trainers can come really in handy, and that's where I would really recommend them to people if it's something that you can afford. Fitness, it can be so difficult to try and figure out what works for your body. Everybody's bodies are different, and also bodies in general are just so complicated.
That's it.
So many factors that come into it. So having someone there who can take all the guesswork out of it and can literally just go to you and say, do this, and do this, and eat this. And then if that's not working for you, I know what to do, so we can switch it up and make it work for you. And also, it's also nice to have someone fight in your corner, of course, right? Because you might be feeling demotivated, you might be feeling like you're not making progress, but they're there to keep your spirits up and keep you motivated and remind you of the goals that you're trying to reach and that you are capable of reaching them.
Definitely. And on that note as well, about having someone in your corner, I think it makes a huge difference if you do have someone to go along on a fitness journey with you. If you have a best friend or your partner or anyone who is looking to make a change in their life, if you can do it together, whether you do like workouts together or you chat about it, it definitely makes a huge difference to have someone as a driving force to be like, oh, let's both go to the gym, or did you do your workout together? Like, did you do your workout after work? I did my, if you push each other, you can get to goals together, and you can both celebrate each other's victories and help each other when you have down days as well.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing about that is, you don't need to have someone who has the exact same goal as you.
Oh, yeah.
You really, really don't. All you need is the mutual goal of wanting to
get healthier.
Get healthier. No, exactly. That's literally what I was trying to get out of my mouth. And that was us. So that was really helpful because, like, we live together, right? Like, we come back from work and we're in the same space.
Yeah.
So we share the cooking, and our meal plans are quite similar. You know, we have different, sizes and different portions, but they're quite similar in the contents of it. So we can make the same food. Like, there would never really be an instance where I would go, I'm going to order takeout, and Hannah's still going to have her food.
Yeah.
Hannah would be like, no, let's have a regular food.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get takeout when it's our cheat day.
That's it. Definitely.
It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important for you to know how you get motivated. Yeah. I think people are motivated in different ways. And some people are motivated by what they don't want.
Yeah.
People might look at a picture of themselves now or a few months ago, or maybe at their heaviest or like their least fittest, like whatever. And they'll think, I really don't want that. Yeah. And that'll motivate them to move and do something about it.
Yeah.
Or you could be someone who gets motivated by looking ahead and seeing where you want to get to.
That's it. Or having someone else as an inspiration goal. Like, I want abs like Zac Efron, or I want to look like, this fitness girl, like whatever your kind of ideal.
Yeah, I mean, within reason. Because of course, everyone's body is different.
Yeah.
So you want to pick goals that you can yourself
but just
achieve.
Something to work
but
towards.
Of course, something to work towards. And you need to know that. And then another thing is, if you're sharing a fitness journey with someone, it's also really good to know mutually what the other person finds helpful.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Some people might hate being nagged to go to the gym. But someone else might find that, like, that's fine. Okay, thank you for nagging me. I'll go, I feel guilty now. I'll go.
That's it.
But someone might react to that completely opposite and be like, you know what? Now I'm not going to go because you're nagging me to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you are going to share a fitness journey with someone, make sure that you talk about it. Make sure that you find what's going to be helpful for each of you so that you may make it sustainable.
Yeah, and work together and reach your goals together.
And also another thing that we didn't mention is, of course, the gym is not the only way to get fit.
That's it. I was actually thinking about that too. I mean, I think because of our fitness journey, it's also changed the way we do things. Like when we go on vacation, like we love going on hikes, like walking, running on the beach. Like there's so many things to explore. And before, when I was really overweight, I would get tired. I wouldn't be able to do those things. And it wasn't...
Or you might be intimidated.
Yeah, I thought I didn't like those things because I didn't feel good doing them. But it wasn't I didn't like them. I just wasn't at the fittest or healthiest point to be able to do them. And now I've lost weight. Like last year, I went running in like a canyon in California, and I didn't think, that I would be able to go running, in canyons. Like running at all is just not something I was ever good at.
It was Running Canyon in Los Angeles. If you live around there or you've ever been, it's a really great place to hike. It's really chill. It's not that difficult, but yeah, we were on our way down and you just started running.
Yeah.
That's not really something she'd ever do. Like, I mean, me, that would totally be characteristic of me to do that. But you started running.
Yeah.
So what was going through your head when you did that?
I don't know. I was just lost in the moment. I just felt like, oh, you know what? And I don't care, because usually I care a lot about what people think, and especially even in like a place like LA where everyone's a beautiful person, But I was like, you know what? I want to run, and my body is able to do that because I've been running on treadmills all year. I know I can run, and so I just ran. I was downhill, so it wasn't that hard, but it was fun.
Yeah. And I think that's another thing, right? Like, we've only got one body, and that body is only going to be good for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
So it's really good to make the most of it now.
Yeah. Treat it well, and then it will last longer.
And like, there is people out there that just don't enjoy physical activities. They don't enjoy surfing, hiking. That's perfectly fine, honestly. Everyone has their own preferences. But if you're someone who thinks they might enjoy those things, but you're just held back by your physical limitations, it is something to work towards, and it is a way to keep fit. If you have anything that you like to do, that's not the gym, that is activity, that's amazing. Like bouldering, surfing, hiking, even going for a walk,
And even if it's not something like you're interested in, not activity orientated, just try and work that into them. So, if you like photography, then you go out on a walk or a jog and you take photos of where you go, or go for a hike and take pictures when you get up to the, the top of the hill and you have a beautiful view. If you integrate your own interests into exercise, you can find a way to make them enjoyable.
It'll make it a lot easier, and also it might lead you to discovering some new interests / hobbies that you actually really enjoy.
That's it. And it's not just typical stuff as well. There's things like dancing, aerial acrobatics. Like,
you enjoyed boxing classes.
I love boxing, and I also did pole fitness the year before that. And like, I have a new appreciation for pole dances. Like, that shit is hard,
very strong.
You need a lot of upper body strength. So like, those girls are very fit. So like, there's all different kinds of activities you can do, and they're all, any kind of physical activity is beneficial for your body.
Yeah. I think another big thing that I just wanted to mention is, I think a lot of people are very hesitant to start their fitness journeys if, they got the gym membership, but now they're getting cold feet because they're really worried, they're going to go to the gym and maybe there's mirrors and they don't want to look. And maybe there's people around them who they think they're going to judge them or are going to look at them. And, that can be very intimidating. And I think that can stop a lot of people. And, there's not much to be done about the amount of people in the gym. They're always going to be busy. But in all honesty, as a gym goer, you really don't look at the people around you. You do not pay that much attention. The majority of people had headphones on and listening to their music. They're not looking at you. People are self-absorbed. They look at themselves in the mirror. They watch their own form. They're not looking over their shoulder at you and judging you for the weights you can and can't lift, I mean, if that's any comfort to you, I literally never notice anyone in the gym unless they're doing something.
Doesn't even notice me when I come up and say hi. I have to take his headphone off and shout in his ear. And even if someone is very intimidated by the gym and you think that taking that first step is really difficult, then try a home workout. Like, there's all kinds of workouts on YouTube, online that you can do. Even doing, small weights at home or squats and lunges in your living room, Yeah.
And there's also different workout programs that you can purchase online that are actually quite good, like T25 with Shanti or Insanity. Well. Now, some of those T25 would be a bit more for beginners, but Insanity is pretty intense.
Yeah.
But there are those things out there if you're really intimidated by going to the gym at the beginning. Another way to try maybe go about that is if you have a friend that would be willing to go with you. Because then you can kind of focus your attention on them as opposed to trying to think of everyone else that's in the gym.
Or if your gym have classes, because then you have someone leading the class telling you what to do, and a lot of people also trying those new exercises out. Yeah.
And also lastly, sometimes, well, in America this is probably pretty commonplace, but also here in Ireland, if you can get a 24-hour gym and you're able to go out on sociable hours,
makes a big difference.
You're probably going to be able to avoid a lot of people,
And the gym will be quieter. You won't have to wait around.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about equipment being taken up or anything like that. Well, I think to wrap it up, let's look forward. What's your current goal?
My current goal, I'm still not at my goal weight, but I'm not far off it now.
You set quite an ambitious one at the beginning.
I did set quite a very ambitious goal. I think it was to lose 20 kg or something like that. It was quite high, and I'm almost 15 kg now, so I have about 5 kg to go. And then as I've progressed, like, me and my trainer are even saying I can make my goal weight even smaller because I'll be able to get there. So like, I might do that even when I reach that goal. But again, like, I'm really not too hung up on the number as much as I used to be. It's still difficult for me because I have body issues apart from my weight. I have a lot of scar tissue from having diabetes, and that kind of morphs the way I see my body. If that's removed, I'd be a lot happy with the way I look. But for my actual physical health and my exercise journey, I'm really proud and really happy with how far I've come, and I just want to maintain that and lose a little bit more weight and continue to just be more toned and fitter and healthier and improve my stamina. How about you?
That sounds good. For me, I was in the middle of cutting because we had a holiday coming up, but of course now that's a bit been thwarted, I suppose. Now I'm not really sure, truly, because we're stuck in the house, so I can't really go to the gym properly, so I can't work out properly, and I don't know when my next holiday is. And like, this might sound a little shallow, like, oh, I have to get fit for a holiday, but like, a lot of my life is spent on social media. I do a lot of work on social media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, now podcast. Some of that does rely on me remaining relatively fit. So I have that in the background always. So I need to try and stay relatively lean while also building muscle. I suppose the ultimate goal there would be to be in and around maybe 67 kg. So a lot more muscle than I currently have. A lot less fat. That's not like a few month goal. That's probably going to take a little while. But that's fine. I don't mind. I enjoy the journey. But that's where that is at.
Something to work towards.
Exactly. And I think also, just before we signed off, I thought a good idea would be to mention a few things to do while we're all stuck in quarantine now. How can you remain healthy? Now, we haven't been the best with this. Just because we've actually been trying to keep relatively busy. We've been doing podcasts, YouTube videos,
editing,
TikToks,
filming, planning.
So while we're not actually going to our regular 9 to 5 jobs, we have a 9 to 6 a.m. job. But it's been fun because it's what we enjoy. But fitness has suffered a little bit, and for me, I just find it more difficult to be focused when I'm in the house. But there's still ways to do it. Like, we've gone out a few times to like this big green that we have very close to our house, just to do a bit of running around, throwing a frisbee and a ball around.
That's it.
And yes, it might not be the same or the same intensity as the gym or 40 minutes on the treadmill, but it's something.
Definitely.
And even something as simple as doing some sit-ups, doing some pull-ups, doing some push-ups.
Yeah, doing lunges, doing some squats.
There's a lot of stuff that you can do with your own body weight, and there's a lot of stuff that you can just work into your day. Like, you know me, I literally, like, I'll be leaving to go to the kitchen to get a drink, and I'll do like 5 random pull-ups.
We constantly have a pull-up bar hanging between my hallway and my living room.
Yeah, and like, I mean, if that's what it takes, you know what I mean? Like, for me, that feels great because I can, it's not a super intense workout that I would usually do, but it's still, I can jump up on it, do some pull-ups, I can do some leg raises, and I can jump down on the ground, do some push-ups, or I can do some handstands.
Well, you say you haven't been doing anything. I haven't seen a day go past where you haven't attempted a handstand.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not the same intensity, but I'm doing what I enjoy.
Yeah. Well, you made the table into a climbing center.
That's true, yeah, I did. Our kitchen table, I managed to climb underneath it and back on top. If you want to see that, that's on TikTok. You can tell we're getting really bored here. No, but like, even in the house, like, literally, say you're doing the dishes or you clean the house, you're putting away the laundry, throw on some music and dance.
That's it.
That's activity. That is cardio.
Anything to burn calories.
Find a way for it to work for you. We don't know what's going to happen with this. We don't know how long it's going to last. Uncertainty is, not great. No one likes that.
No.
But what we can do now is just take it day by day and find ways to work our usual routines inside the house.
That's it. Yeah. Keep healthy and keep a positive mindset.
Yeah. And I mean, some people will take this opportunity to be productive and work on stuff that they don't usually have time, you know, like
Yeah.
whether that's a podcast, some art, like a journal, like whatever it
Side
is.
hustle.
Some people will do that. But listen, if you have been working your ass off and this is literally the first break that you've gotten in ages, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking a seat back and genuinely just looking after your mental health for a little bit and take a break out. You don't need to start a side hustle. Don't need to, as long as you have enough money to sustain yourself and have food and be safe, you don't need to be making money left, right, and center and trying to monetize everything.
It's not a productivity competition.
Exactly. So if your idea of quarantine is sitting back and binging Joe Exotic on Netflix.
You keep calling it Joe Exotic.
Tiger King. Whatever, King. Right? If that's your idea of that, or making some new meal that you've never made before, or just chilling with your loved one on the couch and like doing nothing but talking about random stuff, do that. You know? You. Or even if you're doing art that's not going to be sold anywhere, it's just for you. If you're going to clean out your clothes, do whatever is going to keep you sane through this time. And I think that's all we can do now.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
I think so. Thank you guys so much for listening or watching if you're with us on YouTube. I hope you appreciate the little jump in quality. I know that I do. I can't wait to film more episodes. Now that we have better equipment, it does make me a little more excited to do this. Like I said, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys are staying safe, staying indoors.
Sane as well. Not going too crazy.
Yeah. If you're any of the critical workers, thank you. We do need you guys, very much so. And, you know, we will see you again next week. If you want to check us out, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, and we post this on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So,
thanks for listening.
Have a fantastic week, and we'll chat to you next week.
Chat to you soon. Bye.